Welcome back to the Grand Prix de Pau for 2012, the Grand Prix Electrique, the second chance that we've seen these cars racing since a couple of races which created a bit of everything, really, didn't it? Will Scriver and Simon Hill here describing the action, and we've really enjoyed watching these little cars. And we've just seen the sign there, evacuation piste, which means, of course, clear the grid. And we watch to see as everybody wanders away. The grid girls, who have been more interested in actually trying to take photos of Sebastian Loeb than have been in actually doing their duties, I think, most of the time, haven't they, Will?
Well, he's got to be a big celebrity racing here, isn't he? He's going to draw a lot of attention. Interesting about these cars, do we think, is there any advantage off the start? Is it just press the throttle and away you go? There's no clutch, obviously, so...
No, I guess it's just a matter of reacting, isn't it? Because I suppose you're just waiting on what the car will do in terms of its reaction, because no gearbox, you just basically get on the go pedal and away we are, and that's it, really. So the second Grand Prix Electrique de Pau, 12 cars on the grid. We look down the grid, and it is Mike Parisi who took pole position with a 1:39.483 ahead of Adrien Tambay on a 1:39.519. Looking down the order of the grid, so Tambay in the blue car as you look at it on your left, Parisi in the white car. Third on the grid, Sohail Ayari in the pink and white car just behind that, and then on the left as we look at it will be Christophe Ferrer, who is another or certainly current, I guess, driver from the Trophy Andros in the electric vehicles which race down on the snow and ice over the winter. Now, no, hand out of the door. Now, that looks like that could be Cameron. Is that Beltois? Is there away, though? So that no hanging around, was there? It is a good start from Parisi with Tambay, Ayari, and then in fourth position, Ferrer seeming to get through very, very quickly. Let's see who gets the best of it. It does look like it's Parisi, Tambay, Ayari as they charge back up the hill. We'll watch to see with interest. Is that Beltois' car? I think that is Anthony Beltois, who has been pushed away from the grid. But does look like it is the 27-year-old local man, Mike Parisi. We're not already in the FIA JT series. Is the green flag wave?
Move here down the inside.
Oh,
no.
Not quite close enough, was it? So Parisi, Tambay, Ayari, Ferrier, Cameron and Gavozon. That's our drivers that are making their way through. Listen to this. It's very, very strange, isn't it? Very strange. The 5-car Anthony Beltois is it's been the driver that we were watching there that had that problem at the start. So with frustration, we're looking at our timing screen, which is frozen, but certainly they know. Oh, Parisi.
Loads of tyre noise.
Someone's off there. Two people off there. Now, I think that is the lady racer that was off.
Is that Ferrier in there?
Ferrier and Broggy. Yeah, Marlene Broggy in the 7 car. And Ferrier, who was running in, who started on 4th on the grid. There is the Picard car of Broggy. So let's just see if that creates a safety car for us. So now we have Parisi leading Tambay by 0.6 of a second, 1:45.784 for Parisi. Tambay, Ayari, Cameron up to 4th now, ahead of Gavazon. Then Olivier Pernod, Mathieu Vassivière has changed towards the back. Of course, it was in the distinctive green car that was trying to come through. Now, Parisi seems very aggressive with the car, doesn't he, Will?
Yeah, lots of aggression. You can hear with the tyre noise as well. It might be a case of these cars. They obviously, I think they've got quite a lot of suspension travel, move around quite a lot. As you can see, they're just using that exit pavement with no problem at all.
And explain the driving technique that you need. Why are they going so wide? What's the importance of that?
I mean, that helps you get a better run. Obviously, that section through the park is where they're going now, very fast. The better exit you can get, and obviously the more track you can use on the exit, the straighter you can get the car, and the earlier you can get on the throttle. You can see the amount they're moving around through here. I mean, they're absolutely on the limit of these tyres through every corner.
They look so much fun to drive. There's Broggy's car being removed. There doesn't seem to be much in the way of backing off for the yellows there, does there?
No comment, but no, a lot of tyre noise would suggest they're still quite committed through there.
And again, it's that weird sensation, isn't it, of just squealing and a sort of a buzzing noise that you're getting rather than any actual kind of engine noise. It's just the funniest thing ever. But Parisi leading Tombe and Ayari. Now the gap still pretty much the same. Parisi actually setting the fastest sectors, and another fastest lap there for Parisi, or his personal, in fact, fastest lap of the race. 1:38.732.
Increased the gap to 7/10.
What was the pole position time once again that we saw Parisi put in? 1:39.483. So even for these, even for these cars, it shows you that we've got the tyres clearly, or the circuit coming in, and the tyres working more effectively as a result.
Yeah, I think all the rubber from the last two races and qualifying will definitely have helped these guys. Have we got a slow-moving
car? Yeah, that's somebody with a problem there. Can't quite work out who that is at this stage.
Needs a recharge, perhaps?
It could be, couldn't it? Oh, that was very marginal, wasn't it?
We've seen that a lot. Is that try to get on the power a little too soon. We've got a replay here. This is perhaps of the slow car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it needs to be...
It was on our Vox. Yeah, let's have a look and see. Ferrer and Broget were the ones that dropped back. Beltoise starting from the pits. And we'll just see as they drop down the... Oh, now look, it's close right up at the front.
Very close. Obviously, perhaps the enthusiastic driving styles of the front two have allowed them to close up, and obviously their nose to tail. Marshall's scrambling away.
Don't blame them.
This is the trouble, unfortunately, with the Pau. You know, I'm sure all the drivers are lifting and are obeying the yellow flags, but you come across these instances so quickly. And these guys, obviously, I think, fully committed way before the corner just to try and carry the momentum through.
Now, these guys will be enjoying this. So one great thing about Andros Trophy is that it's all run in-house by the very well-respected Hexagon engineering team. Max Mammers' organisation putting these cars together, and have been a very much intrinsic part of the development. And look how good Tombe is on the brakes there. How good was that?
That was beautiful, beautiful drift in. That was getting the car rotated on the brakes there, on the power early. The gap was down to 4/10, and now I think the gap's down to absolutely nothing. So these two, as we see, is he going to try and have a look? Obviously, with this tight section of the circuit, I think that we may see a small move here. Let's have a look if he can stick his nose down the inside. No, Tombe stays behind.
I would imagine Parisi is pretty committed on the brakes, wouldn't you? So, yeah, DTM driver Adrien Tombe racing this season for the AB Sports line in one of the Audis. And this is the only other race currently in his schedule this year. Last year, as I said, raced in the Auto GP, took one win, finished fourth in the championship. And prior to that, we also see him in things like Fire GT. How committed was that? That was fantastic.
Tombe's turn there was fantastic. Let's see how close. Obviously, we've got green flag racing here now, where the other two cars are stricken. So, good exit there. Tidier exit by Tombe, I'd say, using a bit more curb, so he's going to be right on the gearbox or electric motor, shall we say?
Well, yeah,
heading down
on
the start
tail, I suppose.
Yeah,
about the only thing we can say that's quite sort of comprehensively, factually accurate is on the tail of the car. It does always make you laugh, doesn't it, when you can see people say things like, they go, hang on a minute, what gearbox?
I don't think it has one.
Has it got one?
Batteries? I don't know.
Yeah, it hasn't got an engine.
The gap down to 2/10 now, so obviously these guys are going to be racing like this.
Tombe around the outside again. He's trying to get the cut back, isn't he? He's trying to get better drive up the hill.
Parisi having to defend.
Yeah, he knew that.
Good job of it.
He knew that was coming, didn't he? He could see that one.
But now, I mean, I think Tombe is all over him, so I think he's going to be putting him under massive pressure through his two tighter corners.
And his father
under the brakes there.
Yeah, his father Patrick Tombe is going to be very, very proud of his young man. He's still only 21 years old, so no, still not been racing that long, but has been around F3 Euro Series.
Tombe's got a better exit through the park now. This is going to be very close as they exit this park section.
Yeah, and I would imagine Parisi's determined as ever to try and hang on to a victory here at home. He was so pleased to take victory in the Legend race here last year on home soil. So absolutely loving the racing here, but not loving the attention he's getting from Adrien Tombe, is he?
That couldn't be closer. Look, we go on board now with Tombe to see just how close they are. He's looking for any sign of a gap. Nothing at the moment, as they're going to drag back down now towards the start-finish straight. We've got chicane just here.
Let's look at that little
overtake here.
Look at what the dash is telling you there. That's kilometres, I guess.
Tombe taking taking all the chance in the world through there, all the track available to get this drag down to start-finish line.
You can see the battery charge. Now this is it. Prix, he's going to really think about where he positions the car. He's going to try to defend early, but which he does.
He dives to the inside and he locks a wheel up. Can he get stopped?
Is he going to see Tombe cut back on him? No, he's not. He rolls off. I guess the technique there is going to be you roll off the brakes a little bit to try and look on the dash there. The lack of you can see where the power has gone to 50%, or the battery has gone to 50%, which means with 3 laps to go, they should be all right.
They should be all right. So wouldn't need a mid-race charge.
About 0.4 of a second quicker, but now we're starting to get those lockups. Now they're running on road tyres. There's been some changes, as you quite rightly said earlier on, Will, to the suspension
here.
And for the rest of the pack. I think there's Pernod and Gervazon and everybody else in the middle of the pack starting to come through. It was the 2 and the 9 cars that are having this fight. Olivier Pernod and Paul Petit, who's taken over. It was supposed to be Stéphane Ortelli that was going to be racing, but unfortunately not available. So meanwhile, we can't really take our eyes off this action at the front, Will.
No, it's absolutely fantastic racing, and I think because of the tyres in this car and the amount of suspension travel, they really do move around a lot, so it's making for some fantastic manoeuvres. So they go through the last chicane. Tombe taking an awful lot of curb there on the way in, hasn't hurt his exit, and now they drag back down to start-finish line. I think this is going to be the best opportunity for an overtake into turn 1. Prix keeps to the right already. Is he going to stay right? Tombe's going to have to be quite creative here, I think, to get past.
Yeah, every time he does the same thing, doesn't he? Goes in deep, tries to get the cut back. Prix is cute to it, understands that's coming, but he's got a bit of momentum. I mean, they aren't the most sleek little vehicles, so you'd think you do get a bit of a tow, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. And his tows alongside. They're going to be side by side. He's out-dragged him.
He's done it. What a great move by Adrian Tombe. Totally unexpected. There was no doubt in my mind that that Parisi had gone in so quickly that he was just trying to defend and hope to cover the cutback, but didn't quite manage to do that well enough.
Is Tombe going to be able to hold on to this lead now? Is he going to be able to produce a gap? It looks like he is.
Already he's gone away. Watch the sectors. 35.3, sector 1, 34.6 for Tombe, so it was significantly quicker. Now there's that battle that we saw between the 2 car of Pernod and the 9 car of Petit.
And I'm going to dare to say that Parisi's got a little bit of a problem. He's now struggling to hold on to 3rd place. He's dropped right back, so perhaps the car's slowing. That's why Tombe was able to drive straight past him.
Yeah, I wonder if there's it could be a technical issue, couldn't it? Because look, he's dropped way back into the clutches. And I wonder if it was some sort of power issue, that he wasn't delivering quite the level of power that the cars would expect. Because Ayari now, look at his lap time. He's already started to close down with just 2 laps remaining. It looks like Tombe barring disaster. As you see the 3 car of Franck Lagorce just bouncing through the shot there. He's down in 8th position at the moment.
A very slow lap from Prix on that one, so would suggest some sort of a problem. Perhaps the car not producing the performance it did at the start of the race.
Yeah, and doubtlessly when we get our interview at the end with our winners, we might get a chance to see exactly what the problem was, because it looks like Ayari, who is no stranger to success himself.
Going to move into turn 1.
Oh, that's that. Oh, is it? No, did he get in the wall? No, he didn't. That's it, Pernod getting bounced out of the way by Petit.
That was a bit of a forceful overtake there.
It was a block pass, wasn't it? I think that's the way they like to describe it.
We've got a replay here, both of them in, and only one can come out the other side.
Do you think that was a bit hopeful from Petit, or was that maybe Pernod not quite being vigilant enough?
I think when you've got a car alongside you, if you turn in, that's going to happen.
Yeah, because it was a square on bang, wasn't it?
Exactly, side by side.
Look at that from Tombe. Well, you know, you can
Noise,
see the
don't they?
class of the drivers, can't you? You can see these guys are all absolute top-line professional drivers, and there is literally no other way of putting it. We saw as I said, the Hexagon guys down in the pits, and that's looking on smiling because they're used to having such great drivers in their cars, and I'm sure that they are enjoying it as much as we are, and I bet the crowd are loving this as well.
It's great to see how much the cars move around. You really get a sense for speed when the cars have got so little grip from the tyres and such soft suspension. You really get an idea. We've got the checkered flag.
It is, and it's going to be Adrien Tambay. He takes his second win in the Grand Prix d'Electrique. The first one in 2012. The last one was last time we were here back in 2011. Mike Parisi hangs on to second place. Soyel Ayari takes third. We watch to see the rest of them coming through. Marc-Antoine Cameron, I think, is likely to come through in fourth. He does. He crosses the line ahead of Louis Gervazon. Paul Petit, and we saw in that contact with Pernod a little bit earlier.
Oh, damaged car.
Now, that is the car that I think was that had the contact, wasn't it? That's Pernod's car that was bounced into by Petit. And I think that's what happened. He was obviously trying to turn. The likelihood of broken steering is because he'd already actually started to turn the wheel. And the steering, that driven wheel, or that's the wheel that was steering, was starting to pop out, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely some steering arm broken there. Interesting on that last lap, Mike Parisi found a bit more speed. Actually was 6 tenths faster than Tambay. So interesting to know what actually happened on that lap where he lost the position and started to drop back. I can't think. It's not going to be a missed gear.
Definitely not a missed gear, is it? There's no gears to miss.
So I'm not sure because he lost a couple of seconds and all. That does look a little sorry for itself at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a fairly simple bit of engineering, though, isn't it, in terms of repair? It's a quite a straightforward top-bottom wishbone. He's got space frame chassis, which they need to be light but strong. And Olivier Pernod clambers out of the car, his Steph-sponsored car, and saunters away. He's got that body language, isn't he, of like, I'm very upset. I think I've nearly said a rude word there, but
yeah, I think
the
a bit miffed by what happened.
Yeah, and the guys at Hexagon are going to have their work cut out now. There's at least 3 or 4 cars. Now, he's trying to find a way of clambering over the pit wall, so to avoid having to walk all the way to the end. Well, it's not that far, is it? I think he's just been a bit lazy, don't you, Will?
I think he's possibly going to stay with the car now.
Yeah, well, not much he can do really in terms of aiding the recovery.
Switch it off. It'd be interesting. I don't know whether whether you have to tow them or anything, because I believe some electric cars you can't tow the driven wheels because of the direct drive to the electric motor. So it'd be interesting to see how they actually remove the vehicles that are stranded. So
Adrien Tambay wins the first race of the weekend from Mike Parisi ahead of Soyel Ayari. Less familiar names of Marc-Antoine Cameron, Louis Gervazon, Paul Petit. And then another well-known driver in Franck Legaud, champion. He won the French F3 championship in '96. Super Touring champion in 2002, 2004, 2005. French GT champion 06 and 07. Le Mans GT1 champion 07. Second at Le Mans last year in his class and won the International GT Open. So to say that he's done a bit would be a bit of an understatement, wouldn't it, Will?
Yeah, he's definitely ticked a lot of boxes there. And these guys looking like they're getting ready to start. I don't think we have a green flag lap on this because obviously they are limited in range. So I think we're going to start straight from this grid order. Interesting enough, not sure how you start one of these cars. There will be no revs and dropping of the clutches. I assume you just press the go pedal, and they do. And away they go. And our leader cuts straight across to defend.
Oh, that was almost putting him in the wall, wasn't it? That was Ayari on Tambay. Anthony Beltoise, who didn't start yesterday's race ahead of Mike Parisi, who started from pole position. Parisi to the inside of Beltoise already, I think. Is he going to get through? Yes, he is. Meanwhile, Franck Legaud's just in the background, barging his way past Cameron, I think that was.
Oh, he's turning. Oh, no,
that's Legaud's round.
Oh. It's all right. He's facing the right way now. Oh, no, maybe not. So it's all happened before we've even got to turn 2. I don't think the number 3 car of Lagos is going to get going again. I think that
went on forever, that moment, didn't it?
It was quite. I did at one moment think he got it sorted out, but a bit too much right-hand lock and into the barriers he went.
Well, it looked all right.
And here's the replay.
If we can work out that.
Well, they just sometimes cars just become magnetically drawn.
Now, did he click the? I'm just trying to see if who else.
Keep it pinned and try and sort the lockout and wall. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't quite see who that is in this soft car at the back there. I've got a feeling it might be Ferrier. I'm not sure, but we'll find out. Red flag.
Red flag. So we'll see a restart from these guys. Trouble is they've done a complete lap now, and obviously these things don't have the power to continue to go any more laps. So we'll start again, I assume, with a few less laps on the counter. So I'll drive it out and unhurt. It's good to see.
Yeah, I'm slightly confused as to why the red flagged it, because that would seem to me that...
Because if it doesn't, I think, because if it doesn't start, there's no crank
the marshal,
in that area.
see him leaping backwards, and he can blame them, really. Well, he just went one way, then the other, didn't he? We'll see if we can work out who the other drivers involved in that were in just a moment. Can't see from this angle which cars they are.
Again, this goes back to the point, I'm not sure how easy these cars are to move. With direct drive, whether they can actually disengage the motor to push them, or whether they are locked.
Yeah, you would think that there must be some sort of functionality to do something like that. There's Petit just lining back up. Let's see, Belto Parisi Cameron, I think, was the driver that got caught up. And trying to see who else...
Replay of the start. We'll watch how much the first place was defended and just missing the entrance to the pits there.
I think it was Marc-Antoine Cameron was the driver that got caught up with Legor. So anyway, we'll find out after the break. We'll see you in just a moment here on Motors TV. Yeah, Ferrier going to be going out there and trying to do his absolute best to deliver. We've seen some interesting performances throughout the couple of races. Some of the expected drivers, Ayari, Tombe, Beltoise, Parisi, maybe Lagos. They're the guys you'd expect.
We're away. No noise to give it away.
Noise. So we're actually getting a race. They didn't give us any warning, did they? But it is. Ayari with Tombe's going to... Oh, no. Don't have each other off, boys. Play nice.
Tombe was so going to return the favour. So I think he's going to lead out of turn one now. Great start. So clearly there is some skill to getting these things off the line.
Yeah, just whether it's reaction, maybe they were like us and they didn't expect it to happen.
Still looking.
We were still sort of, metaphorically kind of flicking through the programme and working out what was happening there. But look at we're going to see the yellow flag wave once again, as it has done throughout the day here, or throughout the weekend at Pau.
Oh no, green flags.
Green flags that time. Maybe, why is it different for these? Maybe.
I think they've just let them get on with it. I don't know, or maybe because we've had the first lap.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes,
counted down to 7.
We've seen restarts actually where there aren't yellow flags. So it literally is. We've got a drive-through penalty for car number 10. So that was our pole man.
Ayari, I think that's for pushing Tombe.
And again, it's not giving us a reason. And this is we've seen punishments and penalties like this before, and it's not said for jumping the start. So I'm guessing it's perhaps from that rather aggressive manoeuvre.
Yeah, I think he was. Initially, I think squeezing down on Tombe's fair enough. Look at that. And Beltoise running very well. Parisi putting a lot of pressure on him in the white car behind the blue and yellow car of Beltoise. And just behind them is the white and red car of Cameron. I think that is. Or is that Vaxifier who's managed to make his way through?
So this is going to allow Tombe to disappear. Oh, no, hang on.
Now, what's happening with Ayari? He's slowing down.
Is he going to get as far as a drive-through penalty? The car's slowing dramatically.
Well, it was Anthony Beltoise who had a problem in the race yesterday. Oh,
straight on!
Beltoise! And he looks like he had a braking problem there. I don't know whether he just locked up or whether he's... now, look, you see this perfect demonstration of the reversing that we talked about.
And that's all changed at the front.
Parisi's gone from 4th to 2nd in one lap. And
is he going to be able to chase down Tombe, who's got himself a great advantage now?
Vaxifier is up onto the podium. Now, look. Did it just look like a lock-up?
He did just lock up, and he was so quick to suddenly realise he was not going to make that corner and dive down the escape road. So good job to avoid an incident there. Obviously, miles behind now. I think it's going to be a very lonely race. And we've got that's our pole man, yeah.
I think that's Ayari's car.
So he's not going to make it as far. And now are we going to see, that's the same place we had that long recovery after the first lap incident. So are we going to see a stop race again?
I love this shot on board through here.
Oh, you could just see just how tight it is and how you have to negotiate your way through the tight walls and barriers of this street circuit.
Yeah, talk us around the lap for a bit more, Will, to get a feel for it.
Okay, out of the hairpin here. This is as we run back down the hill. Taking a little bit of pavement on the left as the shot opens up, and you can see these guys descending. Great run down this hill. You've got a little bit of a chicane here with this traffic island that you want to avoid. Maybe not in these cars, probably capable of running a little bit of curve there. And firing down the hill, and it's a straight drag race now, down to the start-finish line.
Yeah, and it does look like the gap between Prix and Vaxivière has closed right up. So Mathieu Vaxivière, the young man who won the Autosport Academy Championship last year.
Are we going to see yellow flags up the hill here because of that stationary car? It's got going. Again, magicians.
Either it's got going, or there's a gap in the fence there. Maybe that's...
Have they found somewhere to
able
park
to
it?
Push it down there. But Tombay, fastest lap, 1:39.539. In fact, Mathieu Vaxivière managed to get into the 39.4s last time. What's the fastest lap from the race yesterday? What did we see Mike Prix
1:38.
38.7. So
still a little way off.
Yeah, about a second to go. Maybe, you know, these are running on, as you said, they've been modified and changed for circuit racing more than the cars were last year. Last year they literally put them on, I think they were Yokohama road tyres, which were like the a similar sort of to the production tyres that they were used on ice, but without the studs effectively. So it really was that basic, and they changed the damper setting. There is Ayari.
He made it back to the pits.
Let's see if we can work out what the problem was. I think that was Pernod's car as well in there. Lagos we know was out already. Tombay's gap 2.37.
Oh, that sounded
like a thump to me.
Oh, he's hit
Tombay. Tombay's gone into the wall, I think.
Barriers.
Patrick Tombay, that's giving his dad a hard time. Adrien Tombay sounded like he crashed into the barriers. We heard a clang, and now he's going extremely slowly.
I think he's going to have to nurse that back, but it did sound like an impact, most likely from taking a bit too many liberties with those curbs, and it can just spit the car out, and all it takes is a little brush with the wall, and you can have damaged your suspension really easily.
Well, Parisi now has had a dream situation. He's managed to get to the lead without overtaking anybody.
Yeah, not the way he would have wanted it, but the lead is the lead, and now he's got to defend the advances of our second man as they go under the bridge. Next pairing coming up, also nose to tail.
Mathieu Vaxivière, we've already seen him racing this weekend. He's had a couple of races. There is Tombay. He's clambering out of the car.
I think that's the gesture for it's not going to continue.
Yeah, it's knackered, basically.
Yeah, I think he's pointing to the rear left, so I think he's clipped something, and it looked like he's been quite tentative with the steering on his head back down the hill, so I'd imagine some suspension damage of some description.
I wonder if we get a chance to see a replay of what happened there, because he had an onboard, so we should be able to get an onboard of what happened.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it was just through that section we just passed. I think we've seen this a couple of times. You just get spat out by taking too much curb and hit the barrier. It's actually something I've managed to do before through that section.
Yeah, well, there you go. You're in exalted company. Well, that's it. But yeah, it was this section here. Was it coming out of the chicane here? It sounded like there was a clang there.
Oh, yes,
I think it was there. That
just outside that barrier.
Click where the red and white curbing ends. I think that looks to me the point where the impact was made. He was very flamboyant with the car. He looked like he had it under control, but perhaps just was a little bit overly committed on that previous lap. So perhaps that explained why what happened there to Patrick. Keep calling him Patrick Tombay, Adrien Tombay. So frustration for that young man. Well, Ayari first of all had a drive through, we think, for the contact with Tombay at the start. Then we saw him stop. Tombay had damage. And also, of course, Beltoise locked up with straight on, so they kind of threw themselves off, didn't they?
I can't help but think a grid of 30 of these cars would be a great thing to watch.
Let's see if we can lobby our friends over in France to get a British round of this over here that maybe commentators could have a go at or something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
I'd love a bit of that. That would be great fun, wouldn't it? Funny, actually, speaking with friends of mine at Renault who are very much promoting their electric vehicle program, the ZE or zero emission program. They have the Renault Twizy, the Renault Fluence, and the Renault Kangoo in market, and they will have the Zoe, which is a kind of Clio-sized car there. And one of them said to me, it's interesting that, you know, what we think we really need to do, Renault have such a big involvement in motorsport at all levels, is to do a motorsport competition for electric vehicles. So perhaps that's going to be more and more the case, because this Trophée Andros, not linked to any manufacturer, despite Gévaudan's car looking a little bit like a Skoda at the front, but not linking to anyone particular. There is Tombay. He's obviously seen the funny side of it now. I think that looked to me like, who was that there? I recognise the driver there as Formula 3 driver. But anyway, sorry, miles away, just trying to work out who that was there.
But I think you're right there. This motorsport, as we know, is a great way to push forward the evolution of technology. With more electric racing, hopefully it would speed up the development of electric vehicles. So, you know, we could be looking at driving a derivative of one of these cars to the shops.
Yeah, it could be great fun, wouldn't it? Well, the other person that's investing an awful lot of money in alternative power sources that could be linked to motorsport is Lord Paul Drayson, who has his LMP project, which is, I think, going to be racing in the States, possibly at Le Mans, which is an electric motor-powered Lola prototype. And apparently that's
with a Halo wireless recharging system,
which is basically when it sits on a little platform. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually had a look at some of this technology through the various shows and publications I received. Nothing else, it sounds really cool, even if I don't know the technology behind it. But very interesting thing, and it'll be great to see how that develops.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, Louis Gervazon and Paul Petit are having a lovely little scrap for the remaining position on the podium with just 2 laps remaining. It looks like Mike Parisi is on for his second victory in electric vehicles at Pau. Had one in the opening race last year and one, it looks like, in the second race here. Interestingly, it'll be 2-2 for him and Adrien Tombay, if that is the case. Ayari and Beltoise clearly very much on the pace. And for Beltoise, has he recovered? I think he has, but he's down in 7th position. So he's had a pretty frustrating weekend. His cousin, Vincent Beltoise, is going to be racing in the Porsche Carrera Cup Matmut France a little bit later on this afternoon. Oh! Now, is that a change there? Did we see Petit get to the inside? It didn't work out, did it? They hit each other.
That didn't look like it was going to end
That's
well.
a crabbing car, isn't it, for Gévaudan. Petit could be...
Oh, look at that. That's sideways.
Verrier is going to be getting himself onto the podium.
That's it. Just keep driving, guys. It'll be fine.
Well,
yeah, the rear left wheel of the white car pointing completely wrong direction. Will he be able to make it back? We're on the last lap. Will he try and drag it the whole way around the circuit at that angle?
Well, there's a recovery. Ayari, he's got back out onto the circuit. But Petit, I think, is going to be on for a podium. Well, assuming he doesn't get penalised for the contact with Gévaudan. I think they're signalling him to stop. But this has been our man, Parisi, has shown his pace. Looked really, really strong for a victory yesterday. And then we suddenly saw him slow down, and Tombay got past. Of course, pole position for Mike Parisi as well. And did look like he was slightly unlucky not to get the victory there, but the man who is from Pau, who absolutely loves racing in front of his home crowd, a winner in FIA GTs already, former GT3 top-line driver, he's going to get the job done. It's Mike Parisi who crosses the line to take victory in the Trophée Andros for electric vehicles at Pau. Tremendous performance. Mathieu Vaxivière goes with his podium that he got in race 1 of the Formula Renault Alps series. It looks to me like it's going to be Paul Petit. Takes a final spot on the podium. It is. He crosses the line just ahead of Christophe Ferrier. And there is Parisi. He's stopping to wave at the crowd because he is a local boy.
He'll be very happy with that. So who was our man with the crabbing rear wheel?
That must have been, who was that? That was Gévaudan, wasn't it? Louis Gévaudan.
So maybe he's parked it. I'd quite like to have seen him come round the corner, completely crossed up to take the checkered flag, but he might have thought better of it, as we could see the marks up the track where those guys dragging the remains of their cars after their little turn 1 incident.
Yeah, what can you say about that? It's just quite remarkable that he managed to get it going at all, really, with that wheel hanging off like that. But I would have liked to have seen the replays, 2 replays I'd like to have seen. One was the onboard of Tombe, to see exactly what happened, because it looked to me like we heard a clang, didn't we?
Yeah, and then a broken car.
And I know detectives, but usually usually you can hear like a whistle of gravel, can't you, in the background in your headphones when a car goes off, but no gravel around here today. So that would make sense as to that's probably what happened there. And then, of course, that contact, which looked to me, the other replay I was going to say, looked to me, there is Givozan who's trudging back. He's not really fed up, having lost a podium on the last lap. And even though these electric cars, obviously, it's it's still early days, and it's at the moment it's a fun race. These guys would have taken it very seriously. So, Prix wins it by 1.4 seconds from Mathieu Vaxivière. Paul Petit ahead of Christophe Ferrier, then Marlene Brogy, Anthony Beltoise. Louis Gevozan is classified 7th ahead of Soyel Ayari, Adrien Tombe, Marc-Antoine Cameron, Franck Lagorce and Olivier Pernot. The home track, will it be
currently it's Silverstone. I'm only 10 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
Before that, I think mine was Brands Hatch as well. But obviously we're lucky enough to have so many great circuits.